My name is Mike Butcher. I'm the editor-at-large for TechCrunch.
I'm Anna Irrera. I'm a reporter. I cover fintech for Financial News. That's part of Dow Jones.
Fantastic. Mike, Anna, lovely to have you here this morning. Thank you for joining us. Well, I know you just come off stage from a panel debate here at the Guildhall. What were you discussing? Can you give us your key themes?
Well, we were talking about the sort of disruptors in the marketplace, cryptocurrency, the startups that are going on in the financial technology sector and venture capital, that kind of thing. And this sort of new explosion of companies that's come through over the last couple of years.
Yeah, we were looking at whether a lot of this is just noise or if there's any substance in it. And I think we still left that. We said there was substance, obviously stuff is happening, but we're kind of unsure in which areas it's actually very disruptive and whether, on the other hand, it's just incremental innovation.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it hype or is this something that's really special?
Well, we love hype at TechCrunch, but venture capitalists love that. But the thing about it is there's sort of two parallel universes opening up between the existing financial sector that we know and love, and some of us don't love that much, and the new startups. Whether it be cryptocurrency, whether it be payments, whether it be crowdfunding, that kind of thing, crowd lending, and those things are the new areas which, you know, the big players now are sort of taking notice of, because really, basically, everybody's online now. I mean, almost, and it's certainly in the developed world, and the emerging market is coming up pretty fast. So you've got to sort of take notice of the crowd now.
Yeah.
So I always ask myself, is the sector hot? Because we're saying it's hot, but if you look at the numbers, stuff is happening. So I think VC investments in fintech companies in Europe were 5 times higher in 2014 than the year before. So there's definitely something happening. I think we'll have to wait to see whether the money will actually lead to companies getting more users and actually making revenues.
And the exciting thing is that London is very much at the heart of this. You know, you've got companies like TransferWise, which raised $58 million. Now they're a $1 billion company. They're a unicorn out of Europe, out of London, and this is London's very much at the heart of what's going on both in the existing world, but in the new world as well.
And what's going to keep us as the heart of fintech? I mean, is it only a matter of time before New York catches up, or what's going to keep us here?
What do you think?
Well, I think. If you look again at investments, if you look at the numbers, right, because we have to look at the numbers, what's striking is that the number of investments are still higher in Silicon Valley. So I think maybe they're making less noise because they don't really have to make noise about fintech because they have everything else, right? So this is kind of the London thing, because it's the area where London can really compete in tech, whereas you can't really compete in apps, I think, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I mean, consumer internet companies are massive in Silicon Valley and always will be because of the sheer size of the US. One single market speaks the same language, etc. The point about fintech is, as kind of a branch of cloud and SaaS, is that Europe has always been very strong in that, and London is very strong in all of those things. And London is on the doorstep of the biggest financial community on the planet. And so that is a great combination. Where London and the UK and Europe might fall by the wayside if they're not careful, is over-regulation of emerging technologies which nobody quite understands yet. We've already seen that there's kind of been a mistake in the US by classifying Bitcoin as currency, when actually Bitcoin and the blockchain is actually more like a platform. And the smart regulators and the smart operators in London and Europe are kind of much more on board with that as an idea.
And we touched on regulation, but the other end of the scale that you mentioned just there was the customer, the consumer. There's a lot of policymakers here today and VCs, which is fantastic. Lots of businesses showcasing their technology. But are we as customers, consumers, ready for this, do you think?
So I think adoption is certainly a challenge in some areas. For example, I think online investment management, you're going to want to think it over very well before you put all your savings online. But I think that's just going to evolve a bit, right? People were thinking, if I go on eBay, am I sure someone's going to really send me something? And now nobody has an issue going on eBay or Amazon. So that might change too. But certainly now, when it's financial services, there is a degree of uncertainty before you put your money.
The UK and certainly much of Western Europe is totally aligned with online e-commerce now and mobile commerce. And the mobile aspect of this, I think, is the most transformative. In the UK, we're very used to mobile payments now, mobile banking. Apple's yet to introduce Apple payments. And I predict that the UK will be all over that when that happens, and that itself will, as soon as whenever Apple does something, that usually is like the time to call it and off you go. And so I think there's absolutely loads and loads of stuff to be coming through in the future.
Well, you heard it here first from Mike. Anna, thank you very much for joining us. It'd be great to chat to you.
Pleasure.